Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Denzel Bentley, a couple of fights ago, lost to Nathan Healy, lost his British middleweight title. And he had some out of the ring issues. I think his little baby was unwell, took his mind off his work, as you can appreciate. Lost a majority decision to Nathan Healy. That was back in November of last year. He came back in May to fight Danny Dingham, who'd only had one loss on his record, one loss, one draw, 16 wins. Denzel knocked him out in 2 rounds. And he faced Derek Osaze at the York Hall, and Osaze, 13 wins with only 3 KOs, 1 defeat to Tyler Denny on points. This potentially was a tough fight for Denzel Bentley, and certainly a quantum leap up in opposition for Derek Osaze. Derek's 30. No real names on his record apart from Denny. Beat Kieran Conway in one of those prize fighter things or whatever they were called. He was undefeated at the time, Conway, but that was only a 3-round decision. There's really no one on his record that jumps out at you. And there he was, suddenly fighting Denzel Bentley for one of those WBO international titles. Well, it was a jump up, but it was too much because Denzel scored the 17th KO of his career in 2 rounds, knocked out Osaze. I thought Osaze would last at least until the later rounds, maybe even go the distance, but Denzel caught him with a beautiful right uppercut, split his guard clean open. Osaze was badly stunned, and then Denzel followed up with a left hook and I think another right cross. As he was falling forward, Osaze fell flat on his face. I think he was counted out. I'm not actually sure. Was it a count out? I think the referee definitely counted. Anyway, the point is, this was a bit of a statement by Denzel because even though Osaze was jumping up in quality of opposition, you know, the middleweight scene, it is kind of rocking and rolling a little bit at the moment because since losing to Heaney, losing his title, British title to Heaney, Heaney's drawn and been knocked out by Brad Pauls. So there's all these, there's some names floating around here. Denzel at 29 is probably going to want to go for international honours, go for a world title. He talks frequently about being a world champion. Don't forget, he did go the distance with Zanibek Alamhalouni. Lost a unanimous 12-round decision for the WBO title. But with this WBO international belt, he's still in that WBO mix. So I think this is Alamhalouni actually does have the IBF and the WBO title. So maybe a rematch, possibly. I think sometimes it's the manner in which you get your work done. And Denzel definitely got his work done against a guy who came with a lot of ambition and a lot of self-belief. Osaze came out with a very high guard. He's got deceptively long arms, and he was clipping Denzel. Denzel started probably a little bit more aggressively in the first 20 seconds, but Osaze was still moving forward, still looking to put the pressure on Osaze. And Derek was able to withstand, a lot of the attacks. Like I say, he had a very high guard, but of course the way you deal with a high guard, one of the ways is to a pinpoint uppercut. That's eventually what happened. But in the second round, there's no doubt at all that Osaze was clipping Denzel. Denzel wasn't rocked. He wasn't really shaken at all. I'm struggling to think of an occasion in his whole career where he's been clipped and hurt. I mean, he's got wins over people like Linus Adofia, Marcus Morrison he did in 4 rounds. He got a lot of experience at the British level. He did have that weird 3-round defeat to Felix Cash, which was so strange. I mean, they were both undefeated at the time, and I actually picked Bentley to beat Cash, and Cash stopped him in 3 rounds. That was for the British and Commonwealth back in 2021. He's beaten Mark Heffron. I think he got a draw. There was a draw with Mark Heffron, and then he beat him in 4 rounds in the rematch. So he's got lots of domestic experience. But with that WBO belt, he's going to probably swerve the British route. He's been 2-time British champ anyway. Maybe go for the EBU. Maybe the EBU would be an option. Maybe if he can get another shot at Alamhalouni, maybe would he win that? With Denzel, sometimes he does blow hot and cold. At the moment he's hot. The Dingham knockout in 2 rounds, and now this one against Osaze in 2 rounds. But then that's hot stuff. But when he moves up, I don't know whether it's a lack of self-belief. He's got some real skills. There are periods of rounds where Denzel tends to sort of switch off a little bit. But when he lets his hands go, at times he can look really impressive. He's got a good variety of punches, a good accuracy, decent speed. His footwork's not bad. I mean, this is a guy who I think, at 29, he should be in that world mix. At least in the top 10. I mean, for all I know, I think he might well be in the top 10 ranked. But I mean, just because you're ranked doesn't necessarily mean that people will view you as a leading contender. Some of these rankings are very, very strange. But with Denzel, I see him as being a threat. On his night, I think he can beat some of these guys, some of these world-class guys. But he's got to be consistent. And I understand he had issues outside the ring, when he lost to Heaney, but that wasn't the first time he looked out of sorts, like against Cash, and the draw with Heffron. That was a weird one. And so, I don't know. Yeah, I like Denzel Bentley a lot. I like watching him, but I do think he can be a bit erratic. And hopefully he's got over that. Hopefully because as Adam Booth said, I think it was Adam Booth definitely said this, he said boxing, when you're training, when you're in the gym, it's 80% physical, 20% mental. When you're in that ring under the lights against an opponent who's trying to take your head off, it's definitely 80% mental and 20% physical. If you've prepared physically and you're there and it then becomes a matter of mind over matter. And you've got to be consistent mentally and emotionally as well. So, good win for Denzel. What's next for him? Possibly a world title shot, or maybe at least a good contender. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with him. He's only 29, which is not old for a middleweight. So maybe he's going to be one of these guys who has a sort of Indian summer of a career, and doesn't really come into his own until, say, the last third of his career. This might be one of those occasions. But let me know what you think about Denzel Bentley. I was surprised at how easily he dealt with Osaze. I thought Osaze would last a lot longer. I've seen him many times before. But what do you think? Are you surprised by the result or the manner of the defeat? Do you think Denzel can go to world level and tear up some trees? Or do you think that's a bridge too far? Let me know. Let me know your opinions. Leave your comments below. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new, and also hit the like button as well. Spread the channel, spread the word about the channel, promote it. Always appreciated. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, and I'll get you later. Bye for now.